Ready to take your favorite WagerTalk handicappers wherever you travel this football season? The WagerTalk TV app is now live for phones, tablets, smart TVs, and streaming platforms. Tune into your favorite shows like WagerTalk Today, Bet on It, and the Opening Line Report, plus browse through our extensive library of sports betting tips. Create your personal playlist of betting tip videos to help you prepare for the upcoming season, and set notifications to alert you when new content is added. Download the app for Apple, Android, Amazon, and Roku devices by searching for WagerTalk TV, or scan the QR code on your screen to join the winning conversation today.
Welcome into First Pitch for Thursday, August 4th. I am Drew Martin, joined by Steve Merrill and Brian Leonard of WagerTalk.com. We got 3 games on the slate for tonight. Best bets at the end. We got the Braves and the Mets, the Blue Jays and the Twins, and the Red Sox and the Royals. Starting off here, guys, with a good one in the NL East. Brian, get your opinion first here as we get Kyle Wright and Carlos Carrasco going at it with the 2 top teams here in the division. Competitively priced game. We're seeing it as the Mets minus 115 price as the home favorite, 8 being the total. First of a 5-game set in Citi Field. Actually, Brian, these 2 teams will be playing 9 games over the next 2 weeks, likely to go a long way in predicting who wins this division. What are you liking tonight in Citi Field?
Yeah, we've got a lot of mismatches going today from a team standpoint, but this is one where I'll be totally honest with you. I made this line exactly where it is. I have these two pitchers rated almost exactly when you take a look at Carrasco at home and Wright on the road. The concern I have for Atlanta, well, maybe it's not a concern, I don't know, but it's a situation where their best player, Ronald Acuna Jr., he's been good this year, but we're expecting him to be great. And he hasn't been, especially lately. He's when you got a guy of that nature up in near the top of the lineup, and he's been okay. That is a concern, especially going against a Mets team who really, to me, they bolstered some holes that they had going into the trade deadline. I like some of the moves they made. I think they gave up too much for Darren Ruff, but this is a team in the Mets that matches up really with you very well. They're bench players that can always make those switches, very much like San Francisco does. So I expect good things from this Mets offense going forward. The Braves, Austin Riley's having just a terrific season, and congrats to him for getting paid. But I couldn't find an advantage in this game, but I think by watching this game, we may be able to catch something that we could use for the rest of the series. I'm excited to see it. 2 really good teams that are pretty much being overshadowed by the Padres after the trade deadline. So should be really a real fun series. But this game, I just couldn't find any advantages.
Steve, this is a game where I feel like that if you want to make an argument for either side, it's pretty easy to find. We got the Braves when Wright has started his last 7 games. They're 7-0. Carrasco on the other side of things, he's in a current 18-inning scoreless streak. He's throwing fire. The Mets offense has scored 53 runs their last 9 games, 926 team OPS. The Braves on the other side of things, they're 40-15, the best team in baseball since June 1st. I don't know, 2 hot teams going at it tonight. Do you like anything in Flushing, New York tonight?
Yeah, like you said, you'd be fading the best team in baseball at an underdog price if you take the Mets. But then again, it's a home game for New York. It should be a playoff atmosphere, and probably not going to play this game tonight. But whenever it's a big, high Class A game in any sport, I always start looking towards the under, and it is 8 to the over. So we do get a little bit of value with 8 under even here. And you have to be careful with the Braves offense. They're obviously a great offensive team, but they've scored exactly 1 run in 2 of their last 3 games. So you could make an argument that they're cooling off. The problem is that game in between, they had 13 runs on 14 hits. But the other 2 games, 1 run, 5 hits, 1 run, 6 hits. So I do think you can make a case that Atlanta might be cooling off a bit here. I would lean under 8 if I'm going to play it. It's interesting that Brian mentioned the Padres because no matter who wins this division, one of these teams might very well end up playing San Diego in the playoffs. I'm not sure they're going to be able to avoid them. But it's still very important to win the division because the top two division winners, which are going to be the Dodgers and then the NL East most likely, because the Cardinals Brewers are going to probably be the third division winner record-wise. They get that bye all the way to the divisional round. They play the wild card winner, whereas the top wild card team will probably be out of this division in San Diego. They're going to have to win an extra round. So loser of this division probably plays the Padres maybe in the wild card, and then the winner of this division probably gets them as well in the next round, one way or the other. But it is important to win this division. The Mets are 3.5 up right now. As you mentioned, Drew, they play a lot of games, not just this series, but another one coming up. If the Mets could sweep here, they'd be up 6.5. Actually, it's a 4-game series. They'd be up 7.5. I don't think that's going to happen. So this determines basically if Atlanta's going to win this division or if the Mets can pull away. It should be a great one to watch this weekend.
Yeah, good one to start off here, guys. And we also got a good one in Minnesota with some transition in terms of players really on both teams. The Toronto Blue Jays and the Minnesota Twins. Steve, we'll come back to you. Alex Manoah on the hill for the Jays. Sonny Gray for the Twins, -120. That's the Jays as the road favorite. Total of 8. Steve, something I took away. Whit Merrifield got traded to the Blue Jays. Interestingly enough, a month ago, he didn't make the trip to Canada when he was on the Royals due to not being vaccinated. And but sure enough, he's going to join him here on a 9-game road trip. I'm sure he got vaccinated. I don't think there's confirmation in that. We'll know when they go back to Canada, I guess. But he is 0-12 versus Sonny Gray here. Vlad Guerrero, 14-game hitting streak, 12-4 under the new manager, John Schneider. I'm not stepping in front of the Jays. Are you, Steve?
Yeah, or maybe Canada finally lifted the vaccine mandate. We'd have to get one of our Canadians on the show to confirm that. I don't know what's going on there. But, yeah, look, it's an interesting point because, Toronto has a very strong home field. And one of the reasons they've always had a strong home field in the Sky Dome. But we talked about this Tuesday with that Rays-Jays game in Tampa. One of the reasons Toronto has been stronger at home than ever this year is because a lot of teams don't have all their players when they're up there. And that's definitely been the case if you look at the records. Toronto's 13 games above 500 at home. They're now 1 game below 500 on the road. And I say now because we all leaned towards the Rays at that underdog price Tuesday, and Toronto got a nasty 3-1 win, but then they came right back and lost yesterday on Wednesday. One thing that's been consistent in all these recent games for Toronto is their offense is ice cold. They were able to pull out that 3-1 win, but they still have 5 runs or less in 7 straight games. More importantly, I like to look at hits because I think that's a better barometer overall if the offense is putting the ball in play or not. Toronto now has 4 hits or less in 3 of their last 5. They have 5 hits or less in 5 of those last 7 games. Not hitting the ball well. They now travel without rest to Minnesota, a division leader here. So I'd lean towards the Twins, but Minnesota's offense concerns me as well. This team has had 7 hits or less now in 3 of their last 4 games. So 2 teams that are not in good current form offensively. Once again, 8. I think there's some value with the under 8 in this one.
Brian, what do you like in here, Toronto and Minnesota?
It's interesting you mentioned the player from Kansas City who goes from the outhouse to possibly the penthouse here. I've been reading that management basically has said if he feels strongly he doesn't want to get the shot, he doesn't have to get it. But that means he won't be able to play home games in Toronto. They talked about that, so I don't know. You would think that they would have this settled down. I know it was a late trade, but you would think they would know the answer to that if he was going to get the shot or not before they made the trade. So we'll have to see how that goes. But at least they tried to better themselves and they picked up a really good player. So regardless if he plays on the road or at home, they've got a nice quality player that's having a bad year, but he's been very good so far. It's another game where the line is basically what I made it. I've taken a look at season to date, and I always take a look at how these teams do against winning teams. Toronto's 37-37, Minnesota's 30-33. The Central Division, Minnesota was the only team really that tried to do anything during the trade deadline. I like the pickups that they made. Bringing in the Molly from Chicago, being a fly ball pitcher, I think this is a perfect spot for him in this division, where the only place that really the ball travels at all, it would be Chicago for the White Sox. So I think he's going to have a lot of success here in Minnesota. I like the guys they brought in from the bullpen. Toronto also has brought in some good players. In fact, that trade to bring in the pitcher from the LA Dodgers, White, I think he's going to be a fixture of this rotation for years to come. Two teams right now that I have graded out where Toronto's clearly the better team, but they are on the road. Minnesota's tough to beat here. Had a hard time finding anything to bet on this game, but I've seen your play for later here on the best bet, and I think you'll have an opinion on this game.
Yeah, guys, we got best bets coming up, and actually just heard Brian break it down there. He's on a 7-2 run heading into today's action. He's got a 5% play up and available WagerTalk.com. Check him out for the last 5 MLB seasons in the profits, and it's a 5% MLB Diamond Gem. So check that out, guys. He's hot right now. Obviously knows his baseball. So that's the top 5% play up at WagerTalk.com. We got one game left here. Boston Red Sox, Kansas City Royals. Nick Pivetta versus Bubic, the lefty, going for the Royals. Brian, starting off with you here. Total of 9, minus 135. You liking anything Red Sox and Royals tonight?
Yeah, lean here with the Red Sox, but I'm not sold on Nick Pivetta. You take a look at actually both these players on the Baseball Savant page. You see a lot of blue for both of them. So neither one's having a very good year. Some guys have bought into Bubic. I don't. I just haven't seen anything out of him every year. You get a couple of really good starts out of him, and a lot of people start buying into him. I just haven't seen it on a consistent basis, and it's tough to bet on somebody who is inconsistent. We see that a lot in Major League Baseball, a lot of times with the younger players. Pavetta's the better pitcher here. He's not having a great year, but Boston does have Rafael Devers back in the lineup. So they are a little bit stronger than they were a week ago. Kansas City has made the commitment to go young. I'm kind of surprised that Salvador Perez is still wasn't dealt. Because they do have Melendez is actually, he's normally the catcher. He's got a lot of power. He hasn't shown much so far, but Kansas City's going to play a lot of young players, and they brought up a couple more after the trade deadline. We'll see that, and I like to see teams bringing up a lot of young players that are out of the playoffs the second half of the season. I think we see a lot of value on them. Unfortunately, with this line here with Bubic on the mound, slight lean with Boston, but not enough to pull the trigger.
Steve, one thing I had circled here was the Boston Red Sox. Obviously not the season Red Sox fans would have liked. However, I mean, they're at the bottom of the AL East, very surprisingly, below Baltimore. But they won 3 of their last 4. 2 of those 3 at Houston in Minute Maid. I'm thinking, man, if there's ever a time to kind of buy low on a team and make some money towards the end of this season, if they're able to make a run, the Red Sox might be that team. Any feelings on that, and any feelings on betting the game tonight, Red Sox and Royals?
Yeah, I mean, let's put it in perspective, right? What a terrible season the Boston Red Sox are having. They're a 500 team, and they're 3 games out of the playoffs right now. So it's like you feel like they're the Kansas City Royals, right? I mean, let's put it in perspective. Kansas City is 23 games below 500, and they're 14 and a half out of the division in the wild card. So the Red Sox are actually 17 out of their division, even though they're 12 games, 11 and a half games better than the Royals. But look, Boston is not out of it. I mean, they're only 3 games back. They obviously weren't really sellers at the trade deadline. Like a lot of people, we talked about it. The odds said they weren't going to be. Brian and I actually talked about this earlier in the week. Some of the offshore books, they had 3 key Boston players listed on like last Sunday, Monday, and it was like minus 300, minus 500, minus 800. They would not be traded. And as you said, Drew, Boston is now playing better. They've won 3 out of 4, including some wins at Houston. However, they're not hitting the ball still. They were really bad offensively and pitching during the losing streak for a few weeks. Now they're starting to get some pitching, but they're still not hitting the ball. If you look at those last 3 games, 3 runs or less in all 3 of them, even though they won 2 out of 3 in Houston. 6 hits or less in all 3 games in Houston. So they're actually kind of fortunate to get some wins there on the road. So I'm definitely not going to lay a price with them against a Kansas City team that, as Brian said, probably will play feisty. I mean, look, a youth movement's good for Kansas City. They're 23 games below 500. They went up to Toronto. They had like 10 guys out of the lineup a few weeks ago as Toronto loses outright as a $4 favorite. So, the youth movement's a good thing for Kansas City. But once again, it's hard to back Bubic. I would lean under 9 just because both offenses are ice cold right now. But once again, hard to pull the trigger with Bubic on the mound. A 5.5 ERA, a 1.6 whip. But if I am going to play this game tonight, under 9 would be the way to look, as both offenses are not hitting the ball well right now.
Good stuff from Steve Merrill. Check him out at WagerTalk.com as well. Brian with the 5% play up for tonight. I had the loser last night, Brian, so hopefully you can kind of bounce back here with the top play on the site. Yesterday, the best bets went 2 and 3 with the Oakland A's. Trig and I lining up there on the run line. So, Brian, throw it over to you, man. Final thoughts, what you got going on at WagerTalk.com, and where are you going for best bets for the show?
Yeah, just one play up. It's the 5% play. I really like this one. I haven't had a 5% since I think the 25th of last month, or a 4%. So it's been a while since I've had a big play, and I've been doing pretty well, as you mentioned, as of late. I have another free selection on the site if you want to go to that. No analysis, but a free selection. I hate to go Mr. Obvious here, but on a card where I only saw a few plays that interest me, obviously including the 5%, I think we're getting a little bit of an advantage here on playing the team total on the San Diego Padres. And I started looking at more team totals as of late. In fact, I believe I'm undefeated on those since I've been putting those up. We actually had the Mets against, the Washington against DeGrom. It was only 2.5. And I knew they lost their two best players, but hey, I like it when they bring up these new guys. And they scored 5 and actually beat DeGrom the other day 5-1 in a huge upset. And Steven mentioned the other huge upset with Toronto the other day. So, some dogs are biting, but I think the favorite here, San Diego Padres, I'm playing over 4.5 here at -130. They haven't been terrific against lefties on the season, basically about league average. But the moves they made going into the trade deadline, coming out of the trade deadline, it really given them some good lefty-righty matchups in the lineup. Brandon Drury coming in is going to be a big help. This is a team right now in San Diego. There's really no weaknesses in this lineup. Will Myers has always been a good player, although he's not the same as he has been before, but he'll be coming off the bench. Austin Nola, a catcher. They got two guys that can hit from the catcher position. And Kim, the shortstop who's been filling in for Tatis, is actually playing very well. He had like 4 or 5 RBIs the other day. So, and he's batting 9th in the order. So you take a look at this Padres lineup. There is no weaknesses right now. And they're going up against Freeland, a lefty, who he's done as best as he can pitching for the Colorado Rockies, who, to me, are the major loser in the trade deadline. Is they, other than signing Bard to an extension, which I thought was a great move, because they're not going to be able to sign a closer on the free agent market going into Colorado, but they didn't do anything. And this is a team that is not going to win for a few years. They got decent players in the minors, but I was really disappointed with the Guardians and the Rockies at the trade deadline. So we'll see what happens there. But Padres right now with this offense, the way it's going, they scored 9 yesterday, and they only had like 10 hits. So I'd like them to score over 4.5 here at home against the Rockies.
All right, good stuff from Brian. Guys, for my best bet, I'm going to Toronto. I think it's a short price on the Blue Jays. They're in Minnesota here, just a -120 price tag. Vlad Guerrero, 14-game hitting streak. They're 12-4 since the change at the managerial position under John Schneider. So going to ride that kind of hot streak here up against the Minnesota Twins, which, yeah, they made some moves, but I think they're being a little bit overpriced here, just getting the +110. So I'll take the short favorite, -120 with the Blue Jays tonight behind Alex Manoah. I think we get the better pitcher as well. I'll throw it over to Steve Merrill. Guys, check him out, WagerTalk.com. Steve, what do you got going on Wager Talk, and what do you got for best bets and final thoughts for the show?
Going to look at a free baseball play for Thursday night, August the 4th. And to say we have been hot would be an understatement. Yet to lose in the month of August. In fact, I decided to start the day early on Sunday night, July 31st. We had the Giants -1.5 plus money in that run line winner for Sunday Night Baseball. We have had a perfect 2-0 sweep Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So now a perfect 7-0 going back to that last day of July. Yet to miss in August. And we're going to keep it going tonight on Thursdays. I have a powerful MLB over easy slugfest. I've hit my over slugfest on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, including a 15-run winner last night. Don't miss this strong best bet for Thursday. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. Single play is 25. Get 3 days for 59, or get 7 days of MLB for just 79. Take a serious investment approach. You'd be 7-0 the past 4 days if you'd been on board. Let's look at a game that was just a bit outside from making the cut tonight on Thursday at 7 Eastern. You're going to look at the Tampa Bay Rays, -1.5, -105 run line now. Could play Tampa minus 175 money line. I think they win this game tonight, but I'd rather get that juice way down to minus 105 because I do think Tampa's going to win by margin here. And 3 of their last 4 wins have been by at least 2 runs or more. They only had a 1-run win yesterday against Toronto. Huge step down in class now against Detroit. And Tampa's in that ultra competitive, ultra tough AL East. They can't afford to overlook any bad opponents like Detroit. So I think they're going to feast on the ice cold Tigers, who have averaged less than 3 runs a game and only 6 hits over their last 7 games. Tampa on the season has played 73 games against winning teams. They've played only about 31, I believe, against losing teams. So they're not going to miss the opportunity to beat up on a bad Detroit team that's 22 games below 500. Tampa Bay Rays win this one, and I think the best value is minus 1.5, minus 105 run line. Tampa Bay, a game that just missed the cut tonight because my strongest best bet is an easy over, just like that 15-run over last night, just like the perfect 7-0 sweep the last 4 days. Get another winner tonight, Thursday. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com.
Best bet section in the books, guys. Blue Jays minus 120. Padres team total over 4.5, minus 130 for Brian and Steve. You just heard it there. The Rays minus 1.5, minus 105. Huge shout out to the chat box. We got Jessica liking the Red Sox as well. Rara in the house. Johnny Outlaw. Don't sleep on the Sox down the stretch. So it might be something buy low here, guys, on the Sox. Johnny Outlaw liking the Raiders tonight. Thanks for joining us live to the chat box. Please smash that like button if you're liking the content. Paco Healy joining us late as well. And feel free to reply below in the reply section on the YouTube channel. Anything is welcome, guys. So feel free to fire away with what you are betting tonight. Check out Brian Leonard's 5% play up at WagerTalk.com. Steve Merrill in as well. You heard it there. He's seeing it well on the bases. He's hot in August. So check out Brian and Steve. And for both Brian and Steve, I am Drew Martin. Thanks for tuning in. We will be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Best of luck until then. Thanks for tuning in.
Did you know that from 2017 to 2020, WagerTalk charged $795 for a season of either college football or NFL? Well, we know how important our season-long customers are, and we want to increase the amount of money you save by committing a season-long package. While most of our competitors continue to raise their prices, we are doing the exact opposite. We've lowered our price for both the NFL season and the college football season to only $5.99 each. But through Sunday, August 14th, we are offering an early bird special, saving you an additional $100, making your NFL or college football season only $4.99. That's under $23 per week. Make sure to take advantage of the early bird prices before midnight, Sunday, August 14th, as they will return to the still low price of $5.99 per sport per season. You know the NFL preseason is already underway, and the college football season kicks off Saturday, August 27th. There is no coupon needed and no limit to the number of packages you can buy. Just head to your favorite handicappers page and take advantage today.